I wanted to talk about this idea of power, empowering ourselves to be who we are. I think the past uh, 15, 20 years has been about coming into our power, into our leadership, the breaking down of the structures that had us looking at leadership as if it was something out of our reach. The way we've been looking at people going, oh, you're the leader, and I'm going to put you on a pedestal. And coming to terms with that, coming to terms with power, with leadership, with structure, sort of top-down structure, this idea that somebody else knows better, an idea exists, the way we're supposed to find success, do all these things. And also looking at ourselves, right? So for me, if I look back to the trajectory of Pluto during Capricorn, I started out at a very low point. I had what they call a dark night of the soul. Everything went dark. I couldn't be the person I had been. I couldn't maintain that role. And so much of that was about denying who I was, denying myself the right to express who I was. I had so many ideas. I wanted so many things, and I just couldn't seem to get there. I felt like I needed to behave a certain way and show up a certain way, and there was only these things uh, that were open, and I didn't know how to get there. So I felt like I was not able to get where I wanted to be. I didn't know how to be that person. And when I look back and at the journey I have gone through over these past uh, 20 years, 18 years, whatever it is. Yeah, I would say 20 years. Um, what really strikes me is the change, not only this opening that I was pulled into looking at the way I assume success, leadership, all of those things, that I was looking at it as if it was outside of me. And then forced to look at it from within, as if the universe was saying to me, you have worshipped this way of being, you have put it on a pedestal, you've let those things dictate who you are and how you behave. And now we're going to take that away from you. We're going to pull that all away from you, and you're going to be left with nothing. And you're going to have to find the leader within you. And that's absolutely what happened. I had to give up all the things I had in my head about who I was supposed to be and why I couldn't be that, and become someone who had to start over, knowing nothing. One of the things that was so apparent to me at that time was how scared I was. I was terrified. I was terrified of my feelings. I was terrified to really say what I thought. Yes, I was opinionated and I could share opinions, but they weren't coming from my heart. They didn't come from Jen who could feel. Uh, they came from this part of myself that was, my persona. Like I could have an opinion, I could be opinionated, I could blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't me being me. I wasn't in touch with my feelings, with my body, with my desires, with um, my truth in the way I had been. Because everything up till then had been going towards a certain thing. I was beating myself up because I wasn't who I expected myself to be. I hadn't done the things right. And that was very disempowering. I destroyed myself because of my hardness to myself, my hard thinking, my expectancy. It was totally unrealistic. This idea that I would be able to do something well when I've never done it, or the idea that I should even pursue something that wasn't for me, or live my life according to someone else's rules. There was this belief that people who were successful were leaders and they knew how to do it. They had achieved it. Therefore, I should do what they did. And when I lost everything, I truly was on my knees. Nothing mattered. It all became meaningless and dark and so painful. And the beauty of that was that I was forced to feel what I hadn't felt. Like I was forced to be with all of that stuff I denied with my voice that I hadn't spoken about what really mattered to me, what I really needed help with, what was in my heart. All the other stuff was bravado and pretense. Yes, I can be that person. Yeah, I can look the part. I can dress the part. I can show up in a way that isn't me. I know all those things. I know what to do. I can watch a video of somebody uh, looking confident or looking like they know what's happening or blah, blah, blah. I could do all those things. I did it. I did it for years. What destroyed me, or that persona of me, was that thing that I didn't have the energy anymore to pretend. I couldn't. I was just broken. I was broken open. It was all meaningless. And then I had to go through this process, just like the universe had declared to me that I would find the leader within me. I would have to crawl my way until I was ready to walk. I would have to feel my way, and I would have to do all the things and reveal all the things that terrified me, that I was ashamed of. And truly, I didn't do anything that terrible that was so shameful. I've never done anything so terrible that's so shameful. I've just done things like anyone else. I've made choices. Maybe sometimes they weren't the greatest choices. And all of those things, said things I regretted, but nothing. I didn't do any major uh, sort of what somebody might say is a sin or a really horrific thing. I never did any of those things. And yet I was crushed by my own sense of shame and unable to bring myself forward until I had that experience of losing everything. I think it's one of the phenomena of the energy of Pluto, when Pluto moves from one house to another. I mean, using the astrology, because even if you don't understand astrology and don't care about it, it still has some relevance in terms of what we experience collectively. Pluto is about power. And I believe our journey here is about power. It's about me stepping into my leadership, you stepping into your leadership, all of us expressing who we are, not from a place of I'm not good enough and I have to prove myself, but more from a place of curiosity, of delight. I just want to have that experience. And that's what happened to me. I had to let go of this idea that I needed to be somebody and that somebody needed to look a certain way so that people would recognize, oh, there she is, you know. And I recognized that was all bullshit. Didn't matter. I was doing all those things to impress the idea that I was that person on other people, but I wasn't that person. I didn't know how to be that person. But I had to learn how to be me. I had to learn how to feel what I feel, know what I know, find my way to discovering who I could be and who I wanted to be. And that's been my journey, finding that leader within me. And this, the fact that I can be here now doing this from a place of truth is incredible to me. But it's also the the result of my being willing to be curious, of my being willing to let go of I need to be safe, because that old safety in me only existed because I was willing to subdue myself and be obedient to what I thought I needed to be, and put all these people on pedestals and say, yeah, they've been elected as leaders, they're the top, people say they're the top, therefore they must be the best, they must know better than me and about life. And through this process in the last 20 years, I've learned that is not true, that most people don't know. And especially now, we're going into a place where we've never been. It's totally unknown. We don't know. So the more we can live in that place of being a leader. And what does it mean to be a leader? For me, to be a leader, it means I must make my decisions based on what's true for me, not on what somebody else is telling me. People have opinions. We all have opinions, and that's great. But in order for me to do something, I need to make sure that I'm doing it because it has relevance to me. It's something I need to do. So when I was first starting on this journey, and around 2009 and 10, I was coming out of this sort of death, and I was emerging back into life, and I was sort of crawling to experience what else was there besides what I had lived with as truth. What else could be true? And I discovered all this stuff about myself, that I have this ability to receive information, and I knew things. I was like, wow, I know this stuff. This is so crazy. And I'm being called to explore more of that. And I did. And I just kept doing it because I felt like, okay, everything else I had done up till that point, it didn't really work out. It took me to that terrible death because I was kept listening to other people. I kept doing what other people wanted. And even going through this process in these last 20 years or so, under 20 years, whatever, 18 years, those experiences of learning how to not take what other people said as, oh, that's true, because it's true for them, it's true for me. And just go, no, it isn't. I'm somebody who gets overwhelmed if there are tons of information in my way. I'm like, okay, so I need to reduce the overwhelm. So used to be somebody would say, I've got this program, but there's this program you can take, but if you take all of this, it's just a little bit more, but you get all of these things. And I'd be like, oh, I should take all of these things. But then I would be crushed by that because it's just too much. And now I can go, no, I can see there's value in this one, but I want this one. And this is what I need. And I'm just going to stay here. I'm going to create my boundary lines, right? Where I want to be, what keeps me safe. I'm in charge of what keeps me safe. I'm in charge of how I am the leader in my own life. And leaders lead. But what does that mean? Like if I'm leading myself, that means I am not just following people because they have an idea or they look like they know what they're doing, or they have things I want to learn. So much of what we have done in the past has been about looking to others to save us, or ensure that nothing happens, or that they'll just do the stuff, whatever it is, and we'll be safe in the background. And I lived my life like that. And then I realized more and more that those people who are the chosen leaders, right? The ones that are elected to leadership or given title of leadership because they did something. It's great. It's impressive, right? That they're just human beings. And what happens when you have a bunch of human beings who are arbitrarily, really, become leaders because they get into a certain field or they go, oh, I want to be here, so I'm going to do these things. And suddenly, boom, they're a leader. And maybe they don't even have all the skills of leadership. Maybe they're open to somebody bribing them, or maybe they're a bully, right? They haven't really learned how to truly express themselves in the way that we all need to learn how to express ourselves. And at the end of the day, they're human. So I have to decide, maybe what this person says, this piece of it is true, and then some of these other things aren't true. And that's okay, because I have to trust myself. So old leadership was we look to others and we give them everything they want so that they will take care of us, kind of like a parental role. New leadership is about each of us recognizing the power within us. I know what's true for me, and I get better at knowing what's true for me by doing the things I need to do, right? So in my case, I realized I needed to study more of the esoteric. So I was called to the Akashic records, and then I became a reader, and then official or whatever, certified. And then I was like, oh, now I'm going to learn how to become a teacher, and I became a teacher, and then I'm going to teach, and then I'm going to create my own program and work with other people, and I did all those things. And I'm like, I want to create this card deck. And how am I going to do it? I found the ways to do those things instead of looking to others, because they had, I mean, somebody else had, many other people have created card decks, right? So on one level, you could say, well, why would I do it? But it was because I needed to express my leadership for myself. When Pluto was moving out of Capricorn, I found that peace that I had been waiting for. My whole journey, I was like, I'm looking, where is this? I'm filling up these pieces inside of me. I'm doing this, I'm trying that. Because I think leadership is about courage at the end of the day. We're used to people recognizing us, telling us what a great job we're doing, telling us how they love it or whatever, supporting us. But, those things are not um, they are not a criteria of leadership. People telling us how great we're doing or that they look up to us or they admire us, that's not a recognition of, oh, I'm a leader. What makes us a leader is our willingness to go to a place where we don't get that recognition. No one's saying anything to us because we're taking a path and they think we're crazy. And they might even tell us, you're crazy. Why are you doing that? Why are you going out there? Nobody's out there. You're fooling yourself. But that's what leadership is. Leadership is taking the lead, going somewhere, taking the path that no one has gone. And then at some point, somebody else will come and go, oh, this is a great path. And, at some point, then people may say, wow, there's so many people, you're the leader. And yes, I may have been the leader there, you may have been the leader somewhere else. But it's recognizing what is leadership. Leadership is doing the thing that is true for you, learning how to express yourself, learning not to just hang around in a safe place. Oh, I feel safe if I keep quiet and I don't say anything to anyone, or I'm mad, but I'm going to blame those other people or the other leader, and I'm not going to look at my leader and call them out. Right? Like, how does that work if we're blaming someone else or someone else's leader for our leader's lack of leadership qualities? It's like me looking at somebody else and saying, well, you didn't do the right thing. That's why I'm suffering. No, I need to do the right thing for me, right? I need to recognize what is true for me so that I can do that. And so I know that I am being true to myself and I'm not just following someone blindly. I'm not relying on someone else to save me. I believe as we enter this phase, as we go into the Aquarian age, as Pluto pushes us in further into this, we're being confronted by our individuality. We're being made to separate from others. We are all having those experiences where we are being separated from beliefs, from groups, from going, my group's right, your group's wrong. Everything torn from us that we held to be sacred. And the reason is because unless we can find our own leadership, unless you can become that leader you need to be and separate yourself from crowdthink and crowd choice so that you know you're doing something because you believe in it, right? You're not just doing it because somebody else praised you or because somebody else is doing it, but you're actually doing it because you believe in it. You activate your individuality. You activate the power within you to go, okay, systems are breaking down, but I am finding the strength within me, even if I break down. But I'm getting closer and closer to my feelings, to confronting the things I've feared and saying the things I need to say. What is the weakness in our groups, in our leadership that we've had? Is lies. When we have somebody who's a leader, we don't say what's on our mind because we're afraid that we will be cast out. And we're not allowed to say, this isn't true, or why did you treat me like this? Because we want that connection. But what use is the connection if it's not from a place of truth, of honesty? That I can't say, I'm disappointed you did this, or why did you say this? And explain to me why you're making this choice. So that we are all equals and we equally bring our thoughts to the table. That's what we need to be able to experience in Aquarius. Aquarius is about the collective. However, the collective is only as strong as the ones, the individuals, the individual leaders in the collective. So many people want us to fall asleep so that they can take over. This is a time where we have to choose between autocracy and autonomy. I want autonomy. I don't want autocracy. I don't want to boss other people around, but I don't want to be bossed around. I don't want somebody taking my rights, my right to speak, my right to behave, my right to create, so that they can make all the rules and they can feel powerful while I feel downtrodden. I don't believe in that system. Yes, it has been a system that we've lived by, but it is no longer that we have to live with that system. So what are the ways that you can release that energy and stop holding that as a truth, that you're powerless, that nobody cares what you say? It's like you have to care about what you say. You have to be the one to come to the table and go, no, this is who I am. This is what, these are my boundaries. This is what I want to explore. This is where I want to go. This is what I'll put up with. Us individuals in the collective that can raise our voices and make a noise so we won't be subjugated. It isn't by hiding together in caves that we will be given freedom. It's by confronting those who wish to bring us harm, those who wish to shut us up. And we have to do that in our own way, in our own lives, in order to get clearer. Just like me, I had to get clearer. I had to go through these processes of becoming clearer about who I am and what is true for me and how I operate and what I'm prepared to do to be free. It's been a journey and it's been amazing and terrifying and wonderful and all those things. But now I feel so much more powerful than I did when I was giving my power to other things, to not being able to do what I desired, not being able to say what I think. It's not always easy, but then neither is staying in that place pretending that I'm safe if I just do what somebody else wants me to do. It's not safe. What is safe is to know yourself, to know you're powerful, so you can connect to that part of you, so you can live powerfully and you can speak powerfully and impact the world in the way you desire by expressing who you are for as long as you're here. I'm going to pick a card, see what's going to come up. For me, all of this is about being true to you, to the power that you hold within you, and not letting fear choose for you. I know I let fear choose for me for so long. I don't want to live there anymore because this is way more fun, I have to say. A lot more rewarding, a lot more free. The card we have is the 17 Soul Portal, and this card speaks to creating a legacy, right? To here we are, we have arrived. You've arrived here in this place where you have achieved all these things. And now you have to decide, how are you going to get up to the next level of yourself? How are you going to go to those new places, experience yourself differently? You're not going to get there by using the tools that brought you here. You have to do different things. You have to be willing to take risks in a different way, expose yourself, feel the feelings, experience your leadership. This is really what this is about, is be gentle with yourself, but also encourage yourself to go further than you have gone in order to have that experience of what it's like to truly express yourself, even though there are forces around you that want to shut you out or keep you silent. Don't let them. I do readings. I do private sessions. So if this is something you're interested in, if you're interested in breaking through some of the old thinking, believing, the blocks, um, the ways that you feel restricted, this is something I work with people. Dissolving the structures that make them feel powerless, that unexpressed, unable to move forward. So reach out if that's something you want to experience.